Now we're going to read section 4 inside of the workbook for students, and this is still inside of part 2. What is sin? What is sin? Sin is insanity. It is the means by which the mind is driven mad and seeks to let illusions take the place of truth. And being mad, it sees illusions where the truth should be and where it really is. Sin gave the body eyes, for what is there the sinless would behold. What need have they of sight or sound or touch? If you knew the whole world is nothing but light, do you need to see it or touch it or behold it? No. Ego is what gives us eyes that we think we see through. What would they hear or reach to grasp? What would they sense at all? To sense is not to know. And truth can be but filled with knowledge and with nothing else. When you are filled with the knowledge of the truth, that you are non-physical, you are pure consciousness, as I know that that's what I am. I am looking because I understand that I'm playing the human game, and the human game includes eyes and hands, and so there are things that I'm experiencing. But what I am experiencing, because I have let go of sin, which is insanity, is to recognize that everything out there also has God in it. So when I know that God is in everything I see, I behold the light in what is there. And my work is to train myself, to train my mind, to look for the light in everything, whether it be Dan's, whether it was my former husband, my children, my business partner, whatever it is, whoever it is. My work is to behold everything as the truth that it is, pure consciousness inside the mind of God. Paragraph 2. The body is the instrument the mind made in its effort to deceive itself. I know this is really uncomfortable for egos. Egos don't want to hear that. But when you realize that you're in the mind of God and you're using the power of God's mind to decide that you're separate, you are going to believe that this body is really real. And in making this body real, you have just totally, completely deceived yourself. Because now your focus is going to be on the body, not on what you are, which is the energy that animates it. So its purpose is to strive. The body is what can I give? Who can I hold? What can I receive? What can I do to be seen, to make more money, to get more applause? So it's an instrument of striving when the ego uses it. Yet, can the goal of striving change? Absolutely. And now the body serves a different aim for striving. What it seeks for now is chosen by the aim the mind has taken as replacement for the goal of self-deception. So we are training our mind to no longer be deceived in self-deception, striving to get something. We're training our mind to look at the world differently. Truth can be its aim as well as lies. You can look for God as well as you can look for egos. The senses then, our physical senses, will seek instead for witnesses to what is true. So that's why I choose to use what appears to be my eyes in this physical incarnation to see the holy, the beautiful, the godly, the perfect in everything, to look for God, the Christ consciousness, the Buddha nature and everything, because I can do that. When we say namaste, the divine in me says that sees the divine in you. Are you saying those words? That would be your ego. Are you feeling those words? Are you using your senses to strive to see the God in another, the divine in another? Now you're using your mind and your physical body as God needs us to use it so that we can return ourselves home. So that in a few more generations, everybody's seeing what is lovely in each other, and then we're operating from our God self, not our ego self. Paragraph 3. Sin is the home of all illusions, which but stand for things imagined, issuing from thoughts that are untrue. Things imagined. Okay, I was imagining that I was going to meet Dan's mother. That I was imagining. It was something I was projecting into the future. I was imagining that we were going to be together. Sometimes for a long time was my imagination. Sometimes at least another day, another week, another weekend. So it's what we are beginning to project into the future that gets solidified. Those are the that is what we grieve, the letting go of those things that get solid in our mind, because our ego has us project things that are not there, including our bodies. So those thoughts are not true, and to release those thoughts that are untrue, we experience the release of energy, the grief, the sadness, the movement of energy through us. They are not proof that what has no reality is real. My sadness is not proof that Dan is separate and I was going to see a separate woman who happens to be his mother. It doesn't make that true. It doesn't make that true because I felt it. I felt it because I was not experiencing what is totally true. Sin proves God's Son is evil. Timelessness must have an end. Eternal life must die. So in sin, I'm in insanity, and I'm expecting Dan to then behave a certain way or do certain things so that we could be together, and I wouldn't experience death, and I wouldn't experience the end of something and a relationship that could die. And God himself has lost the Son he loves with but corruption to complete him. His will forever overcome by death, love slain by hate, and peace to be no more. So when we are not perceiving everybody as the presence of love, we are going to experience special hate. If that person leaves us and took something from us, we are going to slay them, at least with our mind. We're going to wish the worst for them. We're going to kill them out of our lives. We're going to slay love with hate. I cannot do that to myself. Dan may have a little bit of that going on because he's distancing and he's definitely wanting to remain apart. So much so that maybe conversations to really, I could easily work through things, but he may not, because he's gone into this level of protecting himself, that protection is the ego in his mind telling him that I am dangerous and that he needs to take care of himself. So in his mind, this relationship has to end, has to die. So it's really fascinating how the ego operates. I can watch that happening in another person and have compassion for their suffering, while at the same time, my recognition of their suffering is me making it somewhat real, or making it real in that moment. So then I forgive myself for my insanity. Paragraph number 4. A madman's dreams, because we have many of them, are frightening, and sin appears indeed to terrify, and yet what sin perceives is but a childish game. So where we might have seen the other as potential threats in the relationship that we needed to get rid of so that we would be okay, crazy, mad, childish dreams that were being projected on one another, because that's the way the ego operates. So the Son of God may play. He has become a body. We can pretend we're a body. Prey to evil and to guilt, with but a little life that ends in death. But all the while, his Father shines on him. All the while, God is there with us. All the while, we could have chosen love instead of fear. All the while, we could have focused on what could bring us closer together versus what is separating us. All the while, we could have been honest about the thoughts that we were having. All the while, bringing all that stuff up into the open would have been an example of our invulnerability, a trust that all works out for a reason, a trust that Holy Spirit can use everything for connection. But we both had to play that game. If one of us is playing the game that we can't do that, and one is playing the game that we can do that, well, it's not going to work out. So the next statement says, sentence number 4 in paragraph 4, but all the while his Father shines on him and loves him with an everlasting love, which his pretenses cannot change at all. So Dan and I, no matter how much we might love each other, if we're believing our egos and we're going to separate from one another, we can do that. The love of God doesn't leave us. The love of God is available to us. The love of God could be extended through us, but we can choose not to do it if we want to be right about needing to defend ourselves, separate ourselves from another, and see that one as somebody who we need to be apart from. Paragraph 5. How long, O Son of God, will you maintain the game of sin, the game of insanity? Shall we not put away these sharp-edged children's toys? You know, the way we treat relationships unconsciously is like running with scissors. We don't let our kids do that. But they're sharp-edged children's toys. We're playing immature, childish games because the ego is an immature aspect of ourselves that is hurting because it hasn't been healed. It's going to get projected on the other. How soon will you be ready to come home? I want to come home right now. Come home here to my truth, to my light, to my love, and cast that on him no matter what he's choosing to do. Perhaps today there is no sin. Stop it. Creation is unchanged. Would you still hold return to heaven back? I'm not going to hold back the return of heaven, not for me. How long, O Holy Son of God, how long? This is the question we must ask ourselves. Do we want to keep suffering, or do we want to free ourselves to recognize that if we're suffering, it's because we don't understand that there's no need to suffer. But if we're suffering, it's because we have unhealed aspects of ourselves that need to be released. That's why all those previous lessons in A Course in Miracles are helping us heal our mind, train our mind to let go of what's not true, release those energies, experience the healing that sets us free. I know at the level that I've done it, I kind of sense possibly maybe where Dan might be, we're not on the same page, and it's totally okay. With my more expanded awareness, my work is to see him as I want to be seen, which is to teach what I want to learn, see him as love, and so am I, see him as innocent, and so am I, see him as still one with me, because that's how God created us. Thanks a bunch for allowing me to share this with you, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.